What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how you can achieve your dream physique. And for most of you guys, that's a leaner, more cut, more built, and stronger physique. I know a lot of you guys aren't just in it for the results in terms of body composition, but also in order to feel good. Usually that comes with the side effect of having a leaner and more muscular physique. So in this video, I'm gonna run through exactly what I would do to, take myself to where I wanted to be if I had a little bit more body fat on me. And the first thing that I'm gonna talk about is making sure that you got your calories right. I know that, and also, just so you know, in this video, I'm gonna be going over a lot of different things to make sure that you can make achieving your dream physique realistic and sustainable, because I know for a lot of people, they go over the things of like, oh, you need to track your calories, be in a calorie deficit, eat more whole foods. But like a lot of the time, it's not really realistic. And so I'm really thinking about the people who want to go about it in the easiest way possible without it like overcrowding their life. So the first thing that I would do is I would grab my body weight today. I would step on a scale on an empty stomach, or if you've eaten a little bit, whatever. These are things that you can start doing today. Step on a scale, look at your body weight and just see where you're at. And then you need to see what the goal would be. So for me, I'm like 210, 215 at about 5'10". So if I wanted to lose, let's just say 20 to 30 pounds, or even if you needed to lose like 50 pounds or whatever it may be, what I would do is I would write down that starting weight. I would see where I'm at right now, okay? And then over the course of the next 3-4 months, maybe 3 months, I would be tracking it maybe once every week or once every couple of weeks, just to keep on track with where I'm at. The goal isn't to be over obsessive about it all. The next thing is getting your calories down, and this is like the first thing that you gotta like check off. And that's what we're gonna do by taking your starting weight when you step on the scale, so then that way you know generally how much to eat. Because in order to make this work in a full picture, you need to know how many calories you need right now to start losing body fat. And also, I'm not just gonna be talking about body fat in this, I'm gonna talk about achieving your dream physique, which starts with losing body fat if you have a little bit more body fat on you. Again, I'm just talking about that because most people need to do that in the start to, achieve their dream physique. And so usually that's that leaner cut look, right? But if you want to make that happen, even if you have, here's the thing I come across, if you have a little bit of body fat on you and you're questioning whether or not to bulk up or not, or if you should be cutting down, I'm gonna tell you right now, just get that extra body fat off of you, cut down a little bit, so then that way you're leaner, and then you can start building up gradually. It'll make things 10 times easier for yourself. And depending on where you're at, you might not even need to cut, you might need to build muscle, but I'm gonna save that for a different video, because building muscle is a little bit different from it's a little bit different than losing fat. So what I'll do is I'll go over the fat loss stuff, just to make sure you know how to fit it into your life, what would happen after you've lost the fat and how to transition out of that. But I'll also tie that into building muscle. And then also, if your goal is to build muscle or something along the lines of that, then we'll go up from there. But if you're really trying to achieve your dream physique and you have a little bit of a higher body comp on you, a little bit of a higher body fat percentage on you, like if you can't really see any ab definition, or if you're wanting to be a little bit more muscular, a little bit more fit, whatever it may be, then losing a little bit of weight in the start, whether that's 10, 15, maybe 20 pounds, would be like a really good start to have that base foundation to then build lean muscle mass on top of that, if that makes sense. So anyways, take that starting weight of yours, okay? Super simple. And what we're gonna do is, let's just say I'm 215 right now, right? So it's pretty simple. I'm gonna go into ChatGPT, is probably the easiest thing to use. And I'm gonna open up a new page in ChatGPT. It's where I'm at right now, okay? So I'm 215, right? And I'll say, hey, I'm 215 pounds. I'm trying to achieve my dream physique of being leaner, stronger, more built, and I need the right calories and macros for my body weight. I work out. You then type in how often you work out. I work out 4 times a week. with weights, so account for that. And I sit at a desk most times, but I'm pretty active outside of that. Just give me the right amount to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week until we're good at our goal, and then we can start building up, right? I won't type that in, just this bit. I just need the calories and macros. Okay, so my estimated calories and macros are 2,250 to about 2,400 per day, which is about a 500 calorie deficit, maybe 750 calorie deficit. But the protein I should be eating is about 200 to 215 grams, which is quite a bit. Carbs, 160 to 200 grams of carbs a day, and my fats is 60 to 80. Now, I build my clients' meal plans that are custom to them with trendy meals. Something that you could do is you could use ChatGPT if you really wanted to like get this going today, and you could just type in some of the foods that you like, say that you need a meal plan to fit these calories and macros, just so then that way you know what to eat throughout the day with all the right portions. So in general, you know what meals to make for breakfast, what easy meals to make for lunch, easy meals to make for dinner. That's a really easy way to go about it. So that's what I would do first. I would get that all set up for myself. So then that way I have a general rule of thumb and a plan to follow. How many meals do I need a day? I probably need I usually eat about 4 meals and a snack a day. So I would incorporate that, right? To make sure that it's accurate. So then that way throughout the day, and throughout the week, I have a baseline for okay, this is what I need to eat when it comes to eating pretty clean to accomplish my goals. One other thing I would add in here is trendy meal ideas. So for example, I'd ask ChatGPT, I'd be like, okay, I wanna also make this a little bit trendy and a little bit more tasty. Other than whole foods, what are some different meal ideas? So then that way throughout the week, I know exactly what to eat. Now again, I customize this for my clients and change it as we go along based on their body weight, because you can run into plateaus along the way. Like if you are losing 20 to 30 pounds, sometimes people plateau or whatever it may be. But in general, you wanna find that baseline for the calories that you need to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, for example, and then the meals that you need to be eating throughout the week and days to make sure that you're good to go. And then that'll give you some structure. It'll keep your gut feeling good, your mind feeling good, your body feeling fueled, and you definitely don't want to undereat that. So some people will get that kind of plan. Even some of my clients, what they do is they just undereat. They'll eat 1 meal a day or only 2, you know what I mean? And they won't fully follow the plan, and that's why it doesn't usually fully work. So you need to fully follow the plan to make sure that you can then make up for it in other ways, which I will talk about in the rest of this video. Now we're gonna go for a workout. Today I got upper body. It's gonna be a nice workout, so I'll walk you through that on top of the rest of the topics in this video, just to make sure that you know what to do to accomplish your motherfucking goals. All right, fam, so I'm gonna walk you through this workout. It was a great upper body day. I usually start with dumbbell incline press, but I wasn't really feeling it, so I did incline Smith machine bench press. And I just did a couple warm-up sets and then went straight into my 3 pretty hard working sets of 5 to 8 reps. I like to start with 1 compound lift. That's focused a little bit more on strength rather than hypertrophy, because then I can go into my other exercises. And if I focus on a little bit more hypertrophy, I like to use a little higher rep ranges, like 8 to 10, 10 to 12, maybe 12 to 15, just because then I can push a little bit harder in that way to train for building muscle. And my main goal is to keep my strength around. And if I'm not training, even just for a little bit of strength, like with 1 compound lift in the beginning of the whole workout, each workout, then that strength is gonna take a real big dip for me, and it would for anybody as well. So I always recommend, especially if you're trying, here's a key thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to actually building your dream physique. I've literally have said this since day one, but if you're trying to build your body, you need a mix of strength training and hypertrophy. I'm not saying a full blown out powerlifting training plan and hypertrophy, because that's too much. I'm talking minimal strength and a little bit more hypertrophy, but start your workouts off with strength. Or it could even be kind of in the middle, depending on what you want to work on. For example, for some ladies that I program and work with, I sometimes throw their compounds in the middle of the session, because they're not really trying to focus on big lifts during their workouts. Same for guys too, and it kind of spices up the workout a little bit to make it more interesting. But a mix of strength training, anywhere from like 3 to 5, 5 to 8 reps, and then a mix of hypertrophy for other exercises where it's 8 to 10, 10 to 12, not really 12 to 15, it's a little too high, you know, but I still mix that in sometimes, but those are the kind of rep ranges that you want to add in to make sure that you're doing enough to build your body. Now, for the rest of the workout, I did incline Smith press, I did lying T-bar rows, machine shoulder press, lat pull downs, some arms, I'm pretty sure, rear flies, lateral raises, etc. So just a bunch of it. And I'm gonna show it on the screen for you guys, you know, but it's a pretty like good workout. If you start to understand how to structure your workouts in the way that I'm talking about, like compound lift and some of the bigger lifts first, and then leading into smaller accessory exercises, it'll make your workouts so much easier. The topic of this video is how to achieve your dream physique without it taking over your life. And that comes with learning how to work out properly for your goals with a flexible mindset. A lot of people who start to work towards their dream body, they overcomplicate things and they really do go all in and they sacrifice anything for it. They think they need to work out 6 days a week and follow the most strategic meal plan, but you don't. And like, that's old news, you know what I mean? So if you generally know how to structure a simple training plan, whether that's 3 days a week or 4 days a week, or even 5 days a week, or even maybe 6 days a week. But for most people, they can't even sustain 6 days a week. Like, so usually we're looking at like 4 days a week, maybe 3 days a week, maybe even 2 days a week. Then what you can do is you can be quick going in and out of the gym to get your workouts done. You got to get familiar with the workouts, the exercises, so on and so forth. And you got to know the structure to get results and to change your body, which is the structure that I've already talked about. And then as you go about your workouts, if they're taking, I'm literally sweating, it's so fucking hot in here. But as you go about your workouts, one of the big key things is, like, I would say not to change up your workouts all of the time. That's one big thing that I run into with people who aren't seeing results. They change up their workouts a lot, and sure, it can be fun and you will still get results from it because you're just training your muscles. Like, that's all you're doing. You can still switch it up. But I will say that you do want to stick with generally the same kind of workouts for like maybe 3 to 4 months, maybe even 6 months. That's fine. And maybe switch it up here and there a little bit. But if you can build up really good progress with very basic, simple exercises, like, you'll be good. And sure, you can rotate exercises here or there, swap them out. Like, it's fine. Sometimes the gyms are busy and all that stuff. That's why I was saying, like, if you know the structure of a training plan and how it just works and you have the basics down, then what you can do is then you can kind of play with it a little bit, but try to keep the structure of it like 80% the same most of the time, and then you'll be good. And even if you just focus on weights, like, you don't need to toss in a shit ton of cardio or anything like that. You can just literally weight train and accomplish your results, unless you wanted to add in some cardio work. Personally, for me, I don't do any cardio except for some of the fun cardio, you know what I mean, at the end of the night with the lady. Like, I don't do any other kind of cardio, like, just because I don't have time. So I weight train. That's it. It's all I have time for, 45 to 60 minutes, and like, boom, bada boom, that's it. But if you can get consistent with strength training and also doing some muscle building work, like, you don't need crazy long workouts, nothing like that. You just need the right structure, build up progress in it, stick with it 80% of the time, switch it up here and there sometimes if you want to have a little bit more fun or to pique your interest. But otherwise, like, focus on training your body properly, which leads me to my next point. Training properly to actually build your dream body, I would say, is a little bit more important than nutrition. Something I see all the time is people not knowing how to train hard enough to actually accomplish the results that they want, because it's really hard, not gonna lie, especially if you're a beginner or if you're somebody who's overweight and you need to get into it. It's hard to tap into that mindset where you truly do need to push yourself to your limits. Now, here's a rule of thumb. Let's just say you have a simple workout plan, right? You have 5 exercises, 3 sets of whatever reps each. Just make sure that for the compound lifts, which should be like the first 1 or 2 exercises, you keep 1 to 2 reps in reserve, basically meaning that if you choose a weight for the sets that you're doing, by the time you hit the end of the rep range, you could have done 1 to 2 more reps, which is basically conserving you energy for the rest of your workouts. For accessory lifts, the smaller lifts like training your arms, training your shoulders, you know, flies like leg extensions, hamstring curls, kickbacks, whatever it is, train those till failure for sure. But compounds, don't overdo it by training and taking every set to failure, because you actually can't even really do that sometimes. So that's how you should be training. And then your goal every week is to try to choose, like I say, track your weights, it helps, but like try to increase your weights by 5 to 10 pounds at least a week if you can. But in general, just to start, make sure that you choose weights for the sets that are hard. So then that way you like almost don't have any reps in the tank once you finish 1 set of every exercise. You know what I mean? And once you have that down and you're actually training at the intensity that you need to be training, that's what really sparks change. Sometimes it takes a bit to get comfortable in a training plan to get yourself to that point, but it should only take you a couple weeks. And then it's like, okay, let's get your training up to speed with where it should be intensity wise, to make sure that you're actually challenging your body to change. Because if your body, and you know, sometimes we have days where we don't want to work out as much, and like that's okay, because like we're not robots. But just most of the time, choose weights that challenge you to the point where it's either 1 or 2 reps in the tank by the end of the set, or even sometimes close to failure in general. That way you're making sure that you are training your body hard enough to actually see results. To finish that off, most people have a hard time being consistent with that, which leads them to get less results because they're not pushing their body as often. To change the body, it needs change. So if you can get used to that, you're gonna change pretty quickly, especially if you're consistent with it. Last thing that I'm gonna say for training your physique in order to actually get the results that you want, you gotta make sure that you're hitting each body part twice a week. That can be done in a 3 or 4 day per week workout plan. 3 days per week could be full body. 4 days per week could be also full body, or upper, lower. And that's how you can set up your lifts. You could go 5 days a week, you could go 6 days a week, but I would say for most people, 3 to 4 times, or even 2 full body workouts a week, which is like very bare minimum, but it still can help you get results, is what you need to do to actually make sure that you can get results. Okay, now for more or less the main point of this video. It's how to not sacrifice your life, so then that way you can still enjoy fitness and also get a sick physique. A lot of that comes down to what you eat in the kitchen. Now, I'm gonna be real. This works in a way where it's more like reverse psychology for most people, where anytime everybody wants to like get a sick physique or, you know, do whatever, they think they need to cut out everything. And that's not the way that it works. You need to start with fueling your body. And I know that you hear this all the time, but in the beginning of the video, we went over what you need to do to eat the right amount of food, right? So if you're sticking with that 80 to 90% of the time, instead of just kind of like, oh, I need to cut for a bit, I'm gonna get cut. Like, that's why you're still skinny. That's why you have no muscle on you. That's why your shoulders are not popping. That's why your legs are not popping. That's why your glutes are not popping. You need to build the base in order to get the rest. If you're just going back and forth between, oh, I need to cut a little bit, so I'm just gonna eat 1 meal a day, or I need to build some muscle for a bit, so I'm gonna eat like shit and just train. You're gonna look like shit the rest of your life. I'm not just saying this to say this, but there is a reason why I look the way that I look and I live the way that I live. I don't eat strict all the time. Last night, me and my girl, we had tacos, like greasy ass, cheesy pork tacos. And I had like 7 cookies, literally. We made cookies the other day and they were rock fucking hard, but I was hungry and I needed them. And there's a reason why I can stay so lean, but while also not worry about times like that. I don't do that all the time, but I do that when I'm feeling it. But most of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, I'm like eating healthy because it feels really good to me. So when you have your calorie deficit, right? You get help with getting nutrition help. Maybe that's from me. Oh, the God. But maybe you get help and you get a full meal plan, right? what happens is you just follow that 80 to 90% of the time, or even if you use ChatGPT, great. And then for you, if you're in a fat loss journey, the main goal is to get you cut as fast as possible. So the goal is to not go over that calorie amount. If you wanted to be more on point, you could track your food if you wanted to eat out just for the day. So then that way you can see if you're going over your allotted calories for the day. But if you wanted to be a little bit more flexible, again, if you want to track your calories, that's great. You don't need to do it every day. But a rule of thumb is to maybe track when you're going out. You know what I mean? Track all the food that you eat in a day, liquids, all calories, whatever it is, and then track the meal that you're going to eat out, or drinks, or whatever it is, and then make changes to your full day of eating, cut out some food, so then that way you can make up for the rest later. But if you don't want to do that, I have some notes written down to help you out. If you don't want to track your food, so then that way you can be a little bit more flexible in your fat loss journey while going about it. So the first thing that I have is calorie trade-offs. Fat loss equals weekly caloric balance, which means that if you want to go out, you can eat fewer carbs during the day to save room for the dinner out. You could skip breakfast or fast before an event. That's something that I did on the weekend. I fasted for like 16 hours and I was fine. I had some coffee and water. I was feeling good. And then we went out for brunch and I had chicken and waffles. Keep your protein high, you know what I mean, when you can. But even if you're like fasting for like the morning up until the afternoon, you don't really need to just focus on eating healthy for that meal. Like just enjoy a fucking meal because like you need the food, you know what I mean? And even if you're eating fewer carbs because you're gonna have whatever else a little bit later, like that's also okay to do as well. It's just, you need to understand that it takes consistency to actually get the job done when it comes to fat loss, right? So if you have your base plan for like the number of meals you need to eat a day with how many calories, the portions for each, and you're consistent with that, get consistent with that first, because then that everything else clicks once that gets rolling. Then you can make these changes where it's like, okay, I'm gonna eat a little bit out. Maybe I'm gonna be having some pizza later for a meal. I'm gonna take out the carbs from the rest of my meals and I'm gonna save those for those. Or I'm gonna skip one meal. I'm gonna, not eat for a little bit longer and then I'll crush some pizza later and eat until I'm full and then just enjoy it. But like those are some ways that you can make some foods work in that just like aren't normal because you're saving calories and it's not even that bad. Like it doesn't really add up that big in the long run. And it's either you do that or you be hella strict and track every fucking gram, but then you go crazy and it's just not worth it. So I have found that implementing fasting to stay lean here and there, it helps. Or just cutting out some, like a meal or even carbs throughout the day to make up for a little bit later if you can sustain yourself is a really great way to make things super easy for yourself. And then while keeping the base of like you're eating the same, like you know what calories to eat, you know exactly how many meals to eat, so on and so forth. So you're gonna stick with that, right? And those are some really good tips that I have found that help me and also help my other clients, help them live their life. Because like, again, I'm not just saying this to like, yeah, fast and then only eat healthy food late. Like, no, like if you want a burger and fucking fries, go get a fucking burger and fries. Or if you want some pizza, you go get pizza if you fasted for it, or if you made up for it with the other meals throughout the day, you know what I mean? Especially if you're working out, like that stuff adds up so much and they're just really great tools that you can start adding in to make your journey a lot easier. The only thing is, guys, is like, unless you're competing in a show for bodybuilding or like physique or bikini or something like that, you don't need to be super specific with the amount of calories that you're saving and the grams that you're saving and like all this craziness, because it will literally make you go crazy. So if you follow the structure that I gave you in this video, and I actually had some other notes like save 300 to 5, like just a few other notes that are like more specific, but they're too specific. And they're not even like tips that I give my clients, because it's like, even like with some of this stuff, it's just too much. But with the tips that I gave you in this video, it's how to lose fat without giving up your life. And that's simply how to do it. Like, you get your nutrition in check, how we said in this video. If you check that all off in this video, make sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, but like you'll have your fat loss down, like for real. And then it's just about staying consistent with it and implementing those tools to make it easier for yourself. Get your training down, boom. Then how do you achieve your dream physique after you lose fat? I'll probably save that for another video, but let me know if you guys want that, because if you guys do show some love and like actually like you want to see what happens after you lose the fat, what to do next, what are some changes to make to, because that's a big thing. When I come across clients who want to lose body fat, and this is a big part of like the coaching experience, they'll have like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds to lose, right? I've helped clients lose 100 pounds. And when they get down to like the weight where they're lean, what happens is sometimes you push yourself really hard during that fat loss, right? You're trying to, sometimes people push themselves more than they ever have in their life because it's a journey. It's like it's a very incredible journey because people have been wanting to do that who have worked with me for so long. So when they have done that, right? Afterwards, it's like, what do I do now? What's the next step? Where do I go? You know, what do I do? There's a whole other process for that. It's a lot of the same shit, but sometimes people just need like the facts like drilled into them to like be like, okay, this is now what I got to focus on to like sustain this now. This is now how I can eat to like actually feel good. You know what I mean? And it's still kind of the same stuff, but there's some small tweaks that you can make with your eating, but it's generally the same things. It's nothing too crazy. If you want that, let me know. But if not, it's all good then. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that this gave you some good advice, some good tips with, you know, going about your fitness. I find so many people overcomplicate this stuff, and you don't even need to. Like, if you literally followed it how I just showed you weekly, like, it can make your life so easy, especially during the week. Like, really easy, especially with those tools that I gave you, because then you can enjoy some meals like later in the day with your fam and like not really have to worry about it. Because if you cut down on some of your carbs for like some of your meals, because like, you know, later you're gonna have quesadillas with the fam, whatever it is, and it's like, okay, just cut down on some of the carb, boom, bada boom, you know, have an extra coffee and like you'll be good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that serious. But what I noticed when it comes to weight loss and fat loss is people are a lot less successful when they are restricted immediately. When they are told, no, I can't have this, no, or, you know, can't have this, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, how do you find a way to like fit that stuff in? You know what I mean? And if you just implemented these tools and found your flow for it, like, you would be good. You'd be feeling good for your workouts. You'd start to feel good with certain food, and you'll start to notice what foods you don't really feel. If I have cookies every day, I'm gonna feel like shit, to be honest with you. So I only do that like once in a while kind of thing. But you know what I mean? Like, then you start to find your flow for it. And sure, you can be super strict and be like, hey, I'm tracking my food every single day, making sure I'm on track, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, dude, I'd say like 5% of my clients have been successful that way, and the other 95% have been successful in a more flexible way that actually suits their life, and it has more empathy attached. So also, I had a few other thoughts as I was making a meal for myself, because this is a really big topic when it comes to, it's not even just achieving your dream physique or like anything like that, but it's truly about just improving yourself. And when it comes down to the nutrition side of it, I find so many people get so strict, and now it's not that serious. I just want to like be real with you. A lot of people are on the go, and with what I said in this video about your nutrition and getting it even just a little bit more on point, even if you were 50% on track with that, you know what I mean? We're like 30% on track with that. Like, that's really good. On top of also working out, like, it doesn't need to be 100% to the T of like what I said in this video. Even draw it back further from that. If you're just simply, you know, getting at least even some of your portions in check, like generally eating the amount of protein that you need to be eating. And for most people, that's like 0.8 grams of protein per pound of your body weight. You know, even for some people, it's 0.5 if you're a little bit more obese. Now, even if you're just like somewhat on point and you're even just getting that in you, because that helps you build muscle. It's one of the most important macronutrients to get in throughout the day. It helps your digestion. It helps you feel better, train better. It helps you build muscle. It helps you stay fueled. And in general, even if your meals aren't crazy on point, but like you're getting in, you know, enough meals to fuel you throughout the day that are like healthy and balanced. 3 meals a day or even 2 meals a day. You know what I mean? I really wouldn't say 1 meal a day. I'd probably say like 2, 3, you know, maybe for some of the guys, 4 meals a day. You know what I mean? Even with a snack, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't need to be crazy. It could be a fruit roll up for all I care. Like, it's not that crazy. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's trying to achieve their dream physique, like crazy. It's really hard to do. It's not easy. It's like, for me, it's taking a lot of sacrifice. it's taken being really strict on myself, really focusing on training like to the T, and not everybody's like that. I'm gonna be real with you, it's not that fun. But in the way that I'm talking about in this video, to at least improve yourself and kind of work towards it and feel better about yourself and be happier with, you know, yourself, your body, how you feel with your food, so on and so forth. Those are some things that even if you just did what I said in this video to get an idea of what it looks like, and even if you're like 30 to 40 to 50% on track with that, not even to the T with that, that would be amazing for you, because you could still see results doing it. That's the thing I'm trying to say. It's not black and white. Like, it's like there is a place where it's like, oh, you could be so on point that like you're doing everything to the T, and it's like all meticulously tracked, and you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, and it's like amazing, blah, 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 blah. But it takes a lot of work. Not everybody is willing to do that. And so what I like to do is like, I do this with my clients. I give them the plan for like what they need to actually accomplish their goals, but then I plan with them based on where they're at with what they should do, because not all of them can be 100% on track with that. And so if you are just a tad more balanced about it and not so strict, like, you'll feel so much better about doing this. And I swear to God, it's one of the, like, these are some of the best changes that you can make for yourself, your health, your mental well-being, physical health, like just eating a little bit better, and even learning how to, like, the give and take method. Like, you know, if you're gonna go out and, you know, this, that, it just helps you be a little bit more healthy if you're a little bit more calorie wise. But not over the top. And I do not like being over the top, because life is too short to skip out on some cookies or some ice cream or a Slurpee, or, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like, food makes life enjoyable. And don't forget that. That's the biggest rule of thumb. You gotta enjoy yourself. You gotta feel rewarded. You gotta like what you're doing. You can't just eat bland food. Like, enjoy yourself and find your flow for your nutrition, because that will truly make sure that like you are good. It doesn't mean skipping out on dessert. You could have dessert every single night and like you could still get results. You just have to add in some simple habits to get a base and a foundation down, and then you can start to play around with it a little bit more. But the main things I'd say is generally make sure that your protein is on track for like most of the time, you know what I mean? That's like the main thing. And then you can kind of tweak the other things to make sure that you're good. And that will help you build your body even better. You don't need to be 100% crazy, or you could be, but you don't have to be. So that's the final thing that I wanted to say in this video, just to make things a little bit more easier for you. As a nutrition coach, it doesn't need to be extreme. So let me know if this helps you. Comment down below.